What's going on, guys? This is John Zaccari, and it's finally here. The Nintendo Switch is out, and that means so is The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, after what has felt like an eternity of waiting. And that's what I really want to talk about today. Sure, it's a really good game. I mean, anyone who tells you otherwise is either lying or hasn't really played it yet. But after this long haul, years of building hype, does the game live up to the expectations? Well, we're going to have to start by going back. Way back to 2011, was it? Yeah, some of you may have been wee children at that time, but that's when we first saw Zelda running in HD. Now yes, this was a tech demo for the Wii U, showcasing what a Zelda game could potentially look like on the system. While we couldn't actually play the game, it was actually supposedly running on the Wii U. To prove this, viewers were able to use the gamepad to do things like adjust the camera as well as lighting effects. Tech demo or not, make no mistake, this was the first thing to make gamers' jaw drop when it came to the Wii U. And people certainly bought the system with the promise of HD Zelda in mind. Nintendo would go on to dangle the game like a carrot in front of players throughout the Wii U's entire life. 2014 was the first time we actually got a look at the game, with a trailer that had it slated for a 2015 release. Then 2015 came, no Zelda, but we got more gameplay and a new trailer. Now the game is coming in 2016. Okay, 2016 came, no Zelda. But the game was finally playable that year for E3 attendees. Surely that would mean the game would be out soon. It wouldn't be ready for that holiday, but it would be ready by March 3rd, 2017, which coincidentally would be the day the next Nintendo system, the Nintendo Switch, would launch. Oh, and it's coming out on that system as well. It'll be a simultaneous release. Yeah, I've kept it no secret that I've felt the development of this game has been pretty shady, and I get it from Nintendo's side, the business standpoint. They didn't want the big launch game for the Switch to be considered a port of a Wii U game, so they held up that release. Sorry to anybody who disagrees with that, but you'll never convince me of otherwise, and I feel like this was kind of a slap in the face to people who bought the Wii U largely for this game. Sure, the game was never out. You shouldn't be buying a system solely for a game that isn't released yet. But Nintendo promised it several times over. It just simply sucks that for these people, after all this waiting, when they finally get to see the game on store shelves and pull it off with their own hands, sitting right next to it is a superior version. But while I've complained about this in the past, I've also stated, and this is really why I'm making this video, that if the game is just straight up amazing, like I'm talking practically flawless, then I would have to give them a pass. So let's talk about Breath of the Wild again, finally. Let's start with the negatives. The game seems to have some slight performance issues, more so while the system is docked. At least in my experience, it's been less while in portable mode, weirdly enough. Sometimes it's a bit odd. I mean, I expect to see frame drops when, say, I blow up a bunch of stuff, but I'll sometimes just get it when I'm walking around an empty space. Perhaps it's the game loading more of the approaching area, but it seems too random for that. Could be a bug. This is still day one after all, but it's something I've noticed and seen others posting about online as well. Then, of course, there is the resolution, which is more of a problem while playing on a large screen. We're not getting 1080p here, so sometimes you'll notice some jaggies on terrain and shadows. Again, it's much harder to notice this while in portable mode or with a smaller TV, and it doesn't really affect the game's beautiful art style that much when it is on a larger screen. And then there's, there's the, no, that's honestly pretty much it. This game is basically f***ing perfect. Like, I want to have things to nitpick, but they're just not there. You want to talk about an amazing adventure? This one begins the minute you hit start and has not bored me for a second yet. Honestly, it feels more like a survival game than anything else, at least in the early hours, which I'm admittedly still in. I didn't get any pre-release copy or anything like that, so, I'm just like you guys. The stamina system, for instance, turns some of the most menial tasks into nail-biters. I promise you, you'll never grind your teeth more while simply crossing a small river as you will in this game. Even the slightest misstep may lead to Link chugging some water. Also, climbing, a huge element in this game as most of the terrain can be climbed. Same thing, cost stamina, and you might not realize that you don't have enough until it's too late. There's these towers that you need to climb to unlock fast travel points, and they're good for surveying. And oh boy, can climbing them get stressful. I mean, sometimes requiring you to blow your last bit of stamina on a leap of faith, praying that Link has it in him to cling to the top of the tower. Combat also fantastic, very similar to what you're used to in a Legend of Zelda game, but the weapon durability system keeps you just always on your toes, as weapons break pretty easily, and you'll always want to be ready to switch to another, as well as save your stronger ones for those tougher enemies. The shrines, essentially mini dungeons, are just freaking brilliant. They make sure in this vast open world you always have something to do, really keeping you engaged as you won't go long without seeing one off in the distance, willing you on with that, okay, just one more and then that's it, sort of mentality. And as with navigating the world, you can really think outside the box in a lot of these to tip the scales in your favor. One of my favorite instances of this so far was this ball maze puzzle, where you had to rotate this platform with motion controls to get the ball through this maze, and whenever you rolled the ball off, it would just drop another one back at the beginning and you have to restart. Well, I just didn't have time for that. Wanted to get back to smashing some moblins, so I just rotated that bitch all the way around to ignore the maze part entirely. Yeah, working as intended. The art style is gorgeous. The soundtrack is stellar. I mean, there's deep crafting, cooking, and customization options. You can get lost in this world for hours completing objectives without feeling like you've even scratched the surface. What else do you want from a game? Seriously, what else? I could go on, but I want to wrap it up here. I've always maintained that when it comes to first-party games, Nintendo is the king of the mountain. No one comes close, in my opinion, in terms of delivering consistently great games. But man, they outdid themselves here. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild will go down in history as a classic. Make no mistake about it. So yeah, I guess it was worth the wait. Every second of it. And with that, this video's a wrap. Let me know your thoughts on The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild in the comments. Was it worth the wait for you? As always, I'm John Zaccari, and thanks for watching.